Hey, Eastern Michigan family and friends. Welcome to our Black History 365 live series. We are so excited that you have decided to join us during your lunch hour as we get right into Black History 365. That's 365 days of the year here at Eastern Michigan University. This is your first time chiming in. Hey, my name is Taquanda. I am the social media strategist here at Eastern. And we are excited that you are watching us either from Facebook, from Twitter, or from YouTube. Either way, we ask that you share this broadcast with your network. So go on ahead, we're going to give you a minute to go ahead and share this broadcast now. We want to make sure that we acknowledge you. So the comment section is up and running. We would love to hear from you and where you're chiming in from. If you're an alum, if you're a student, if you're staff, or you're just a community member wanting to get in on this amazing conversation as we celebrate Black history here at Eastern Michigan University. So without further ado, I want to jump right on into today's conversation. We have with us EMU alum, as well as as I call him, the marketing mogul. Like, he's amazing. I've had the pleasure of knowing him all my teenage as well as adult years. And it's even exciting as an adult being able to talk about Marc Perry. He is a leader in the marketing and advertising industry for over 25 years. He's very passionate about solving marketing challenges as well as for his clients and supporting businesses. Marc has specialized in multicultural marketing, search engine optimization, social media strategy, sponsorship sales, strategic platform development, and the list goes on and on and on. One of the amazing things about Marc is that he's worked with a diverse array of organizations from the automotive industry, as well as minority suppliers to nonprofits, Fortune 500 companies, as well as the Chrysler and Ford Motor Company. He's a strategic leader within the industry. He serves as president and CEO of Advantage Communications. It's a company that specializes in communications, and this company was previously owned and operated by his late friend Michael Steele. Since 2020, the company has committed to high quality work with a social impact as a tribute to Steele's legacy. Prior to reestablishing Advantage Communications, Marc has served in many leadership roles, as well as ran a Perry Marketing Group, a full service marketing communications firm that he's operated for 10 years. He's been featured in Jet, in Ebony, and Sister to Sister, Adweek. He's been on the Steve Harvey Morning Show, Tom Joyner Morning Show. He's also served as a panelist for the National Association of Black Broadcasters annual conference, as well as received Michigan Chronicles Men of Excellence Award. After doing all of that, y'all, Marc has a Bachelor of Business Administration from EMU, and he also enjoys serving and volunteering with our EMU Alumni Board. Without further ado, I'm going to bring in Marc. So, welcome, Marc, to today's conversation.
Oh, thank you, Taquanda. It's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me. This is exciting. Seeing you in your Eastern Michigan shirt, and I've got mine on, and
I
so I feel like I'm on the
know.
same team.
Yes, we most definitely are. I was telling Marc, like, offline, everyone, like, it's a pleasure to have this opportunity to bring it kind of full circle, at least for me is concerned. When I decided as an undergrad that I was going into communications and I was interested in public relations, one of the first people that I told was his wife. So it's a great opportunity to be able to talk to you and bring folks into our conversation about Black History Month and Black History 365 here at Eastern.
Awesome.
So tell us, Marc, a little bit about, I know I read your bio, but I like to hear from each individual exactly sharing a little bit more about yourself. So share with us today.
Well, first of all, I guess the common denominator being Eastern, how I kind of got there, I was introduced to it from a friend of my dad's that invited me to come up and take a tour through the university. And with that, at that time, I was thinking I was going to go into TV and radio, but Eastern didn't have a major in that. They had a minor in that. And so the closest thing I could figure out that I'd like was advertising. And then, you know, the degree is actually a major is in marketing. Mm-hmm. So that was my path into this field. And the thing that I really enjoyed about Eastern in terms of developing my background was that it was so easy to get involved in different things. So I enjoyed being an RA for 3 to 4 years. I was there. I stayed on campus the whole time. I was an orientation counselor one summer, which was really fun. And I also was on the student, I was a student senator. I had a radio program that was called Dimensions in Black. And I was also involved in there was a coalition of Black RAs that we were part of, that we did that as well. So that all formed a good foundation, if you will, of springboarding into my first position that I started out in working for General Motors as a district sales manager. And with that, I mean, it it taught me that first of all, it moved me away from here. I lived in Geneva, New York, which is a town of about 13,000. I was excited to go there. I had no idea where I was going. It's way up. It was nowhere near New York City. It's like,
because I was about to ask, like, where's Geneva?
It's closer to Rochester.
Okay.
So, it was a long ways away, but I met some people there, and they made it a good time. Then I moved away from there to Battle Creek, then Chicago. And you brought up Chicago is important from the standpoint that's where I met Michael Steele, and Michael was we just had a great friendship. And as time moved on, I learned more about what he was doing at Coke, and share what I was doing at Chevrolet. We tried to figure out how we could do some things together. We were kind of working it. He ended up going to Atlanta. I come back to Detroit. But he went on and went to work in Africa, and had a huge impact into what he was doing for the company. His dad takes sick, and he comes back to Little Rock. He leaves Coke, and he decides to establish Advantage Communications. And they become an award-winning agency. They do great work. This man was extremely strategic. And we also had another common person, that the gentleman he worked for at Coke, I worked for at Uniworld. Wow. And he was like the godfather of multicultural marketing, the modern day of it. And so it was great. We had that kind of common denominator. And then so as Mike called me, and he is telling me he had was having some health challenges. And so, we just kind of kept in contact, and he asked me to help out with an account. And I started doing that. And we talked about doing some things together, of us coming aboard and being, part of that organization and so forth, as far as leadership. And he passes away.
Wow.
So we, took after a lot of thought about it. We approached his wife and talked about it, and because she wanted to step away. She had actually already stepped away from the company. She didn't want to have anything more to do with it. But we said, hey, we'd like to take it aboard and at some point create a scholarship for Michael. That's awesome. In his name, and keep his legacy alive because of the great work that he's doing. So we're kind of like an upstart. So we're starting. We got our team is stretched across the country. We've got copywriters in Chicago and Little Rock, and art directors in Little Rock and LA, media director in Birmingham, chief financial officer in Little Rock. So it's growing. So it's fun, it's exciting, and so I don't know if I answered your question or not, but
no, you totally did, and that is like amazing how you were able to basically turn that over, and most importantly, keeping Michael's legacy, alive, and how important that is, and especially creating legacy. And I think there's a lot of conversation, around that. Even how, like, if there's any students watching right now, like, you can pave the way as a student to create a legacy for your future, right? And your, your future kids and your family members and things of that nature. So just being able, and even in like in your case, a friend, right?
Mhm.
So
Right.
I think that most definitely is amazing. So I know you have Advantage Communications and Perry Marketing Group. So talk to us a little bit about like your time working like with accounts like Ford and Chrysler and what that looked like too.
Sure. I kind of gravitated to them, one, because I kind of came out of that industry from that. But the door opener for me into the advertising world
Mm-hmm.
was a brand new agency that just opened the doors, was called Don Coleman and Associates.
Yeah.
And it later
Yeah.
becomes Global Hue. I was the
Mm-hmm.
first person that Donald had hired outside
Wow.
of his administrative assistant. So I was there at the very beginning. And he's the one that kind of really opened the door and showed me the different areas of the company, what they do, and so forth. And
Mm-hmm.
so I spent some time there, and I left and started a sales company of selling print. It was called
Wow.
Key Marlowe Services. It was three principals in the business: Keith Williams, Lowell Perry, and myself. And that's how we came up with Key Marlowe. And as I went out and started selling print, I found myself talking about marketing,
Mm.
about enhancing and or improving whatever they were doing, they were printing and so forth. And it led to some projects. And Key Marlowe evolved into becoming a Perry Marketing Group. And I found a niche that we were providing back in the day. You used to do these corporate newsletters,
Yeah.
corporate videos.
Yeah.
We started doing trade shows, trade fairs. We're doing exhibits.
Mm-hmm.
And I built this exhibit for Dave Bain, and Dave
Okay.
gave us an opportunity to really kind of break into this. And we went to Denver, Colorado for a minority supplier conference, a national minority supplier conference. And we saw Chrysler there without an exhibit. Their exhibit company did not ship their exhibit to them. It was something that fell through the cracks.
Oh man.
So I told him what I was doing, and Earl Higgins, who's also a EMU alum,
Yes. Yep.
and
Mm-hmm.
he said, "Hey, I want you to call me when we get back and help us to have our own exhibit and so forth." So I got a chance to come back and do that. We put it with Chrysler, and that just opened the door doing other suppliers, other manufacturers, and that was a real fun part of the business. We like trying to make it really turnkey for them.
Uh-huh.
So all they had to do was show up with their business cards
Oh, I
and
love it.
just walk away, and we tore it down and packed it up and shipped it back and so forth. So anyway, we did that for a while until we could barely hang on anymore. So then I had to close the doors for that and went to work for Uniworld for 12 years. And while I was at Uniworld, that gave me the opportunity to work on some major ad campaigns and some.
Mm-hmm.
So we did a first campaign that I worked on was with the brand new Edge when it came out, and Khalees was featured in it. And we had Khalees come
Yeah.
out and did a nice, really late night shoot there of the vehicle and so forth. And then one of the interesting ones I also did. There's a few of them that I did, but these kind of I think they're more interesting. Was the redesign of the Ford Explorer, and we looked for somebody that could help have some breakthrough of creating some attention that our target audience would appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
And we found this gentleman that was an upcoming comedian at the time by the name of Kevin Hart. And
Right.
so we put together. He was a great guy to work with, and I mean, just really easy to work with, and gave us his best. And I think that was kind of the upstart of his career, just kind of just skyrocketing right after that.
Mm-hmm.
So and so we've done some other celebrities as well, but it's about borrowing their celebrity and so forth. But working with Uniworld and Donald Coleman was really about the intro into target marketing
Yeah.
and targeting African American consumers.
Mm-hmm.
And that started me on that way for it's really 30 plus years. So it's been a great ride. And so a lot of those same principles we're still using right now. We're just adding the technology where you can use it and leverage it to it at this point.
Right. That is most definitely, that's cool to be able to say like just the span of your work and who you've worked with, and then knowing like a little guy named Kevin Hart. Like like that's really really that's cool. So I want to like get into what Black history means to you, especially in the importance of this month. And we'll go more into depth in regards to that. So can you share with us a little bit about this month and its importance to you?
Wow, it has increasingly become more important to me and having a greater appreciation for it each year that it seems to pass.
Mm-hmm.
As I think about Black History Month, and it actually, it started in 1970. I remember back in the early 60s, I went to school in Detroit, Winterhalter Elementary, and they used to celebrate Negro History Week,
Uh-huh.
and we heard about Frederick Douglass and Harriet Tubman and so forth. And in 1967, the February of '67, our family moved from Detroit to Inkster, and I happened to live in this section of Inkster where the school district was actually Taylor.
Mm,
And so Taylor is a white suburb,
right.
which I'm sure you know. And
Mm,
so they didn't celebrate that. So
yeah.
Negro history, I mean, this is before Dr. King had passed away and all that. So they didn't celebrate it. And it wasn't until many years later that, you started Black History Month. And then being associated with, target marketing and targeting African American consumers, we always looked at this as a great month to have some connection with African American consumers in a very dignified way of
Mm-hmm.
outreaching to them. So it's I found it a source of inspiration, and it also builds humility, a great appreciation for the courage that those that came before us, and that we're standing on those shoulders.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I kind of want to take a little turn if you if you
Okay.
allow me to. Like when it comes to just showcasing, Black history, especially as for those who might be watching who either are in marketing or maybe in advertising or even communications, there's a lot of talk now, especially on social about of course, the impact of the Black dollar, right? And amplifying Black voices and sharing as far as Black owned businesses are concerned and things like that. But then, there's that great component, that we're dealing with 365 days of the year. And I know there's a lot of even student entrepreneurs who might be watching this too, who can gain a little bit from this portion of the conversation, but also looking at those other companies that are just now doing what others have been doing for 365 days, of the year. So
Mm-hmm.
can we talk to that aspect, and especially from a marketing and advertising standpoint, like how do you come off not being gimmicky but being genuine, concerning this month when it comes to Black history?
Yeah. Good question. It's because it's not about advertising. Hey, it's Black History Week, and we want you to come in and buy a brand new car.
Right.
It's
Right.
it's it's not about that. It's about dialing into those points of interest of commonality that speak to the culture
Mhm.
of maybe it's the music, maybe it's a couple words that's in there that resonate with us. The point is, it's about targeting that community of asking for their business.
Mhm.
But Black history is a more of a reverence of our appreciation for what we're doing. Now, if they want to be a sponsor of a particular activity that we're putting on or that's being done, that's a great way of doing it, of supporting it.
Right.
But you're right. You don't want to come across gimmicky as MLK Day special bucks or something like that.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, and especially, I mean, I know that there's a lot of things that are going on this month, right? Like
Hmm.
Black History, Valentine's, Super Bowl, the whole
Hmm.
nine.
Hmm.
And recently I saw online where individuals were like going in on Bath and Body Works for their line that they did, and basically it wasn't even a line. It was previous, scents that they had and things like that. And they chose to wrap it in kente,
Yeah.
material and such. But I think people were missing the aspect of,
Mhm.
hey, sales have gone towards the Urban League, right?
Right.
And contributing to that. And I think that that was one of the reasons why I wanted to bring it up, especially knowing that working in the field that we work in, it's just so important to have a seat at the table.
Yeah,
For
you're
every-
hitting it. Yeah, that's what it is. That's the point you're talking about is about diversity inclusion. You know,
Absolutely.
when we're around the table, if you tapped into a resource, to a Uniworld or to an Advantage Communications, that you're going to get those insights of why it's important and what you can register with those people that are going to make it sense and steer you out of areas that you shouldn't be in. So
Hmm.
you're absolutely right. That's the whole thing about diversity.
Yes.
Important.
So share with us a little bit about a little bit more about how have you feel like you've paved the way as far as in your field, and then who made a difference to help you pave the way when it comes to operating just in what we do daily.
Wow, there's a lot of people along the way that I've had the opportunity to sit under or to observe. First one comes to mind is my dad. I heard a lot about what business was about and integrity through him
Hmm.
at the kitchen table. He worked for Chrysler Corporation in the international division, has traveled throughout South America and in Mexico because of his linguistic skills and speaking Spanish,
Hmm.
and did a lot of training and so forth. His brother, my uncle Lowell, who actually gave me the door opener that got me into General Motors.
Hmm.
He was a great man of integrity. When we opened our business up, there were opportunities for us to follow through just on his name alone. And he just had quietly helped so many different other people. And the lesson there was that, when you're going to reach back and help somebody, it's not about broadcasting it. You just quietly do it.
Yeah.
And so, I would certainly say him. And I mentioned earlier that about Don Coleman to give me an opportunity to come aboard with him. He had a hand in that development, and certainly Byron Lewis, working with at Uniworld for 12 years. So those are the people, and the lessons are tremendous in terms of what I've learned along the way, and a lot of it was about this whole target marketing. Is that when you talked about the strategy in my bio and so forth,
Hmm.
there's a lot of strategic discussions and plans that go in place in building these campaigns. I mean, they're just not like creative ideas that have come up out of a bubble, but
Right.
they actually sit on something that's very principled in what you're trying to do in terms of motivating the audience to do one thing or another.
Hmm. So I love the fact, like we talked about like paving the way, and we talked about earlier about creating legacy, uh, and I want to go into the legacy. I feel as though, and again, I feel like I have a backseat at seeing all of this personally, but the legacy that you're leaving currently for your family. So would you mind sharing what it's like being in an entire family who works in communications?
Well, my wife, also my best friend, lover, um, is probably, first of all, one of the hardest working people I have
Yes,
ever
she
worked with.
is.
She is a dynamo. I mean, it's unbelievable. This whole thing, she's created such a great understanding of social media, and I saw it evolve of the investment that she made in the time. It were numerous nights where it was like 24 hours she stayed up just trying to get it. Back when Facebook came on board, back when Instagram started. I mean, she just wanted to be on top of it, understand how it works and so forth. Now she's just brand new off the press. She's been opening up a speakers bureau,
Hmm.
and there's an author out there that has written a story about. Got it right here. Think and Grow Rich:
Nice.
A Black Choice by Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, and that she's repping him as a speaker. So I mean, and it goes to the fact that not only does she know her craft well, Pam is a woman of integrity, and that
Yeah.
people gravitate to her because she's going to do what she says she's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so she's an inspiration alone, her. And then our daughter, who you never know if your kids are listening or not. And one thing,
Right.
she didn't listen to me. I tried to get her to go to Eastern, she wouldn't do that. But
Listen, she went to the other green and white.
yeah, she did go to a green and white school, and she goes into advertising. And she's currently working in the business, not our business, but she's working in the field. And hopefully, there's going to be a day that she comes aboard. But so she's learning some very practical things on the account and also the production side. So yeah,
That's
this makes it exciting to for all of us being a part of this business for sure.
That is amazing. I love seeing it, like living it out day to day, and then the importance of just operating in purpose with a purpose. And I always feel like the Perrys do just that. So
Well, thank you.
that is great. So like your time at Eastern, I know you talked about like the emphasis of being involved, right? And how important that was. And can you share with us a little bit about um, how we can learn from Eastern's past as well as, embracing the future? And what advice would you give, especially to, we might have some prospective students that are watching right now, um, about the importance of Black history and then also just being involved. I love the fact that you mentioned that earlier about how you
Hmm.
just, there's so many avenues to make your mark.
Yeah, that's what so Eastern to me had been a big small school. I mean, it's certainly much larger than the high school I came from, obviously,
Hmm.
but it was small enough that it wasn't intimidating to get involved if you wanted to do
Absolutely.
that. And as an RA, I would encourage other students to do just that, to get involved. I mean, it wasn't enough just to come there and go to class, because the experience of college is the interaction with other people
Hmm.
and getting a chance to know people that maybe not are from your same neighborhood, maybe not from the same curriculum you're in, maybe they don't look like you.
Right.
I mean, in doing that, in terms of understanding and appreciating other people's cultures and so forth and other people, it also helps you develop being able to communicate to people outside of who look like you. So that when you go to the work world, you've got some experience with this, because it could be very shocking if not. As an RA, I recall many Black students that had come to Eastern had never been around white students before. So it was a
Right.
serious culture shock. And so part of that, they all of a sudden they may have been roommates, and they're just freaking out. And only because I had gone through Taylor and so forth, it
Hmm.
wasn't a big deal to me at all. So it's about understanding that, and it's about being willing to listen as well as being able to tell your story as well.
Absolutely. I love that. I absolutely love that. Well, I want to leave an opportunity for we're gonna hit up some of the comments that are in the comment box because they're most definitely coming in. So again, we welcome all your questions and all of your comments. Um, we want to thank Mia for watching in. Mia says it's a alumni board member, Mark. So
Hey,
thank you so
Mia.
much, Mia. All right. So Gabriella says, in serving with Mark on the alumni board, Mark demonstrates integrity and sincerity, paying it forward and contributing is at the core of who he is. I
Oh,
agree.
Gabby, thank you.
I most definitely agree. I love that. So thank you, thank you. I am elated, Mark. I think that what you're doing within the industry as far as multicultural marketing, and then also just in the industry, period, is most definitely paving the way for future marketers and future communicators to be able to look at all the success that you are having within the industry and be able to grab and pull from that. So thank you for sharing with our followers just your experience and how you are making Black history, sir, because you are definitely doing just that.
Well, thank you. Continue doing what you're doing.
Thank you so, so much. So thank you to all of our followers and all of our viewers today. If you're catching the replay, you can always hit the comment box. Our team most definitely will respond to you. We are back with our Black History 365 series. We will be back next Wednesday at 12 o'clock, where we will be interviewing Tony Carter. She's an EMU alum. So again, make sure that you stay locked right here on our Facebook, our Twitter, or our YouTube channel for Black History 365. Thank you for celebrating with us. Thank you, Marc, for joining us again today. And we look forward to seeing y'all next week on Wednesday at 12 p.m. Have a great rest of your day.
Go green.